Oh, is this on? Testing. We're warming up here, people. We're about to do a thing. And just got to get the IG side going. If I can remember how to use things. It's been so long. There we go. Title. Oops. There we go. No business partners. All right. I think this is working. Oh, good. Yavor, what's happening? And you made me remember that I forgot one thing, which is my little chat window. So if you bear with me, this is what happens when you start something you're not ready to finish, like a coup. You get things moving, and luckily I can see some of the comments, but not the way I like. So I've taken like over a month off. It's a little bit of a minute for me to get all the credentials fired up, ready to go. And then, we got some things to talk about. America, we got some things to talk about. Like, why in the middle of an insurrection am I getting a captcha telling me to tell these robots what a traffic light looks like? That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're filing in. Good. I'm starting to see you. Meanwhile, IG, hello. Okay. Center, breathe. I think my framing's okay. Audio seems to be good. If you're seeing me and hearing me well, good. If you're not, actually, that's what I need you to share with me. It is the 6th of June. No second takes in the live stream. It is the 6th of January, 2021. I'm Baratunde Thurston. I'm coming to you live from Los Angeles, which until a few hours ago was America's hotspot. But that title, ever moving as it is, ever shifting, has been replaced today by the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Welcome to Live on Lockdown. It's been a minute. The last episode I did before this one was episode 45. That makes this episode 46 appropriately. The number of our next, and there will be a next, president. Now, it could throw the numbers off a bit if Pensy Boy decides, you know what, for the history books alone, I should probably usher this dude out. Yo, 25th Amendment, where you at? And then he becomes the 46th president for like 96 hours. And then Biden becomes 47. It would be disappointing to everyone who's already invested so much in the merch, right? Like there's the whole like transition team shop. Transition 46 becomes transition 47. You got to get new social media handles. Got to get your graphics team to update all the logos and the key art. It's a lot. So how you doing? Just so you understand what's happening right now with me, not with the country. Nobody knows what's happening with the country, but with me specifically right here, right now, I am talking to you, and you include the good people of Instagram Live, the people I started with, as well, I think, and I just got to check because sometimes this simulcast scenario, but according to my sources, we are online with YouTube, multiple books of faces, Twitch, because insurrections are the new game, and Periscope, may it soon rest in peace. And of course, my business colleagues at LinkedIn. And I wanted to share some things, and I wanted to gauge where you're at. And I wanted to get into a little bit of back and forth. So I'll be up for roughly an hour on this video, a little less now. And I'm doing an experiment after. I'm moving on over to Clubhouse and doing an audio only thing there. If you have an account there, find me, join me there. If you don't, you can dig into it. I don't work for them. I'm not trying to do a whole onboarding thing, but it's an experiment. I'm enjoying it so far. So I'm going to try to do something with a bit more interaction with folks, because this, other than the text on screen, is just me talking. In fact, I don't even need the headset because I know what I sound like. So, other kind of guidance. If you're on IG, hit the question mark thing if there's things you want me to address. You know what? Something magic just happened. I don't know that I can show you. Nah, I can't, but I can describe it. I have one of those snitch devices on my desk. I believe it's called a Google Home Hub, aka Snitchbox, Snitchbox 2020. And it's basically a photo frame device. I shut off the microphone because it kept interrupting me every time I said the word that I'm not even going to say. And the photo that's come up right now is from 4 years ago, December 16th, 2016. The location is Soledad, California. I'm in the parking lot with Mike De La Rocha, LA-based activist, Revolve Impact, doing good work, with Jared Nixon, who's become a real homie, and with this other brother whose name I can't remember, but he works with currently incarcerated people, helping them bridge that line between being incarcerated and being free again. And I had gone on this trip at Mike's behest to speak to these incarcerated brothers because the world forgets about them. And there was no specific like motivational speech I was supposed to give. He's just like, you could do poetry, you could do comedy. He's like, I'm gonna sing a song. They're just excited to have people from outside recognize them. And so we flew up to the Palo Alto airport, San Jose airport, and then jumped in the car and then drove. And it's beautiful up there in that California country. And it's fields and fields of agriculture, feeding the nation, feeding the world. And the mountains are in the background. And we roll up on Soledad State Prison. I've never been to a prison before. I've been to a jail, which is Rikers, but I've never been to a prison. It's a step up. And so we go and we do this thing. It's the big kind of hall. You know, I think they converted the gym. They had a bunch of chairs and all these dudes dressed in blues, listening to us do our thing. And in fact, that was the original Live on Lockdown. You know, like this is a pale imitation because I'm free. I'm not really on lockdown. But for those moments, I was briefly habitating with people who couldn't leave. And so I told stories. I basically did a stand-up improv comedy set. And it was dope. It was beautiful. And the love that I received because of the love that these men received, it stuck with me because we forget about these people. We don't even consider them to be people. And I signed books. There were some folks in there one dude had actually read my book, How to Be Black, in case you didn't know. And that picture just came up today of me standing in solidarity with brothers who were standing in solidarity with those who were incarcerated. And I think it's fitting because there were men in that prison for all kinds of offenses. Violent, non-violent, financial, white collar, blue collar, green collar, grimy collar crimes. And they were paying a price. They were paying off their debt to society. Today, the U.S. Capitol became the scene of multiple crimes. Local crimes, state crimes, federal crimes. Violent, non-violent, all in one. Shots were fired in the people's house. Law enforcement agents were shoved. Property was vandalized and destroyed. People stormed the barricades, not metaphorically, like they got their Les Mis on today. And what I saw toward the end of the melee was a very gentle handling. Very gentle handling by law enforcement of these criminals of these would-be prisoners, of these should-be incarcerated, violent, insurrectionist, thuggish, ruggish bones. So thank you, Snitchbox 2020, for showing me a way into this. Prison. I got a list of people who should be there. There's plenty of footage. And we know that law enforcement knows how to go back through some tapes and start identifying fools and rounding them up. That's what should happen. That's what should happen here. So I want to share some things. I want to share some things with you. We're always going to do a time check because I can get a little lost in the sauce on this. Let me read you something that I just wrote. That'll kind of tip you into my full mental state. And then I'm going to check in on these comments and these questions and these suggestions and see where you're at. I'm not there yet, but I appreciate you. I see you. RDMPLS. Yes, yes. Official Ordell. Yep. Thank you. Satheba. Thank you. And to every Brielle, Jean, Yavor again. So while we're talking right now, the Senate's resuming debate and is still going to attempt to certify this election, which is good. To quote ODB, which is good. But let me get at you with a reading. Whoever told you 2021 would be more chill than 2020 lied to you. As I write this, a riotous mob of right-wing thugs have taken over the U.S. Capitol building after receiving encouragement from the outgoing president earlier today, material support from right-wing media and the Republican Party for the past 4 years, and aid and comfort from a supremely racist and callous political establishment over the past 4 decades. It's a remarkable moment to witness the siege of the most federal of federal buildings in the capital city of the United States, with more law enforcement officers than anywhere else in the nation. We know that had the insurrectionists been black or brown or black brownish, they would also be dead. We know that had Hillary Clinton ordered people to the U.S. Capitol to fight, she would have been rebuked forcefully by the entire political establishment. But we also know that we live in the United States of America, a nation at choice when it comes to determining who gets to be angry, who gets to be violent, who gets to revolt. In America, we reserve the right of revolution for those who've always had the most power. Sometimes they revolt in the form of mob violence. Other times it's the quiet theft of trillions from the Treasury, or the suppression of votes through legal bribery and gerrymandering. The result is the same. Recall that time way back in 2020, when this nation chose not to muster its forces to fight a deadly pandemic, chose not to equip its people with masks and face shields. Recall a few months later when that same nation chose to equip its security forces with gas masks and riot shields and toxic chemicals we don't use in war, and to instead to deploy them against the very people they are sworn to protect and serve. Recall the front of the White House, or the streets of Portland, or New York, or Los Angeles, or Louisville, where those security forces kidnapped, beat, drove over, and arrested thousands in the name of law and order. Recall today, the 6th of January 2021, when an angry mob stormed the U.S. Capitol and the U.S. Department of Defense refused the District of Columbia's request for support from the National Guard. Recall the scenes of mayhem inside the halls of the world's greatest deliberative body, as Trump extremists removed the U.S. flag and replaced it with a Trump flag, as elected officials cowered, sheltering in place, calling their loved ones as if they were high school students. Recall the calm, kind way these violent criminal insurrectionists were gently led out of the building as if they were merely in the wrong seating section at the theater and needed friendly assistance from their ushers. Now, recall the 350,000 people who are no longer alive to witness these chickens coming home to roost. Welcome to 2021. They said it was gonna be totally different. This is what can happen when you put people in charge of government who don't believe in government. When you undermine democracy from within democracy. The good news, we got a new president coming, 46 or 47. Again, I don't know how we're gonna work these numbers. We got a new Congress coming. We got a new big D and little d Democratic Senate coming. I see you Warnock and Ossoff doing the thing. They try to step on your parade. The good news is we have each other. Here's the bad news. We also have more conflict, division, pain, disinformation, chaos, and even death coming. The poison is already flowing deeply through the body politic. It will take time to extract it, and we will suffer in the meantime. Hang in there. Stay vigilant. Stay safe. Let's hold each other through this latest storm. I sent that out over the email waves through other people's snitch boxes earlier today, and I felt that I should share it with you right now. Because we're in the storm. And I want you to hold each other. I want to try to hold you, hold this space with you. Let me check in, see where you're at. All right. Questiony question box. This is great. I'm sorry, I get to see these before you get to see them. Sateba asks, what the fuck? And I think that is a most excellent question. Let's break it down into its constituent parts. What? Okay, so this is like, okay, what? That's what the nature of the thing. What the hell's going on? What the purpose? What the meaning? What the fuck? I don't indulge in a ton of profanity, but this is a profane day. So fuck it. What the fuck is right, Sateba? That is, I mean, I could run it back to the beginning for you, but that would take some time. In recent history, what the fuck is the President of the United States of America incited a riot and physical attack against the legislative branch and his own vice president in front of everybody's eyes. Called it like Babe Ruth with a tweet. Pointed his fat little finger and said, let's go. And here we are. And has been calling it for years and years. And not alone in this at all. No. This isn't just a Donald Trump production. Yo, there's mad co-producers and executive producers and line producers. There's a whole production team that should get credit for this coup. I don't want us misunderstanding the situation. This here coup attempt has a whole squad behind it. Let me get some names. Who are the senators that were going to object to the electoral count? What are their names? It's like Josh Hawley and teeny and tiny and meanie and mo. Who are these? Let's see. Okay, here's a list. I want to know who they are. Okay, yes, this is great. So here are co-producers on today's episode of How to Attempt a Coup. Executive producers, Senator Josh Hawley, Senator Ron John. You know what I mean? I'm not giving the credit. I'm not doing the right job of this. I'm sorry. Let me do this the right way. This episode of an attempt to overthrow the U.S. government has been executive produced by Senator Josh Hawley, Republican from Missouri. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican from Wisconsin. Senator Ted Cruz, Republican from Texas. Senator Kelly Loeffler, outgoing Republican from Georgia. Senator James Lankford, Republican from Oklahoma. Senator David Perdue, outgoing Republican from Georgia. Senator Steve Daines, Republican from Montana. Senator John Kennedy, Republican from Louisiana. Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican from Tennessee. Senator Mike Braun, Republican from Indiana. Senator Cynthia Loomis, Republican from Wyoming. Senator Roger Marshall, Republican from Kansas. Senator Bill Hagerty, Republican from Tennessee. Senator Tommy Tuberville, Republican from Alabama. A lot of people deserve credit for today's events, and I just want to be super clear that they have names and constituents for now. And if you're going to be aiding and abetting in destruction of federal property, I believe that's a felony. And it's just a list right here. You were out there in public promoting this. And I would add a few other names to the list of co-producers on today's show. Senator Marco Rubio, Republican from Florida. Let us recall the moments during the presidential campaign of 2020 in Texas where Trump adorned vehicles in a caravan attempt to run off the road a Biden campaign bus. And in defense of this criminal action, Marco Rubio said, that's how we do it here in Florida too. Cool. You're on the list. You're on the Arya Stark Coup executive producer list. It struck me seeing all these tough guys talk about their Second Amendment rights, how they would never cower. If anybody comes at me, I'm not going to hide behind a locked door or a desk, do some kind of lockdown procedure. This is the anti-lockdown crowd. This is the good guy with a gun crowd. Yet they all cowed in the face of the monstrosity that they have unleashed on all of us. Nobody was a tough guy today. Everybody cowered. And they got a small taste of what it feels like to go to school in the United States of America, sheltering under their desks as criminals roam the halls, our halls, the people's house. All right, thank you. That was a very long answer to a very short question. Again, thank you, Sateba, for a question. What the fuck? That's some of the fuck. Catherine says, do you think white supremacy is fueling this coup d'etat? I do. Yeah. Yeah. Yo, these fools were climbing walls like the zombies in World War Z. It was White Walker Festival up in here. And we had no dragons. Nope. We didn't have no arrow. We had no, Now the cops was taking selfies with the criminals. So, yeah. White supremacy has contributed significantly to the days, the weeks, the months, the centuries and the millenniums events. This is a continuation. Yeah. All right. All right. That's some of what I can see on IG. Let me check in with some of y'all on the other places. I see Nancy Meekum. Hello. Nice to see you here. Someone wants to hear my take on the Bull Klansman. I don't know what that means. I'm going to Google that. And, I'm going to Google that incognito because I don't know what that means. And I don't want this as a part of my snitch history. You can fact checking, John. Okay, I don't know what that's all about. If anybody wants to clarify, especially you, Josh Dietrich, the Bull Klansman, let me know. Okay. McConnell, despite his speech today. Oh, yeah, Mitch McConnell is co-producer. Mike Pence, co-producer. I mean, Ronna Romney McDaniel, like the Republican Party is like the production company. If we're going to stick to the television metaphor on this, then the RNC gets a title card. Like they get a production company card. Like you see 3 arts on the card or like bad robot. You see it like Republican Party. It gets like a whole card on today's production. So that's everybody. Let's see. Yeah, Melanie Igwe, hello on YouTube. I see you, says, my biggest frustration is the revisionist history that will take place. Yeah, I didn't tune in to Fox News today, so I don't know how they've been talking about it. If it was their news people, they were probably doing a pretty fair job. They did a decent job with the election. If it was their white supremacist clown car, then I guess they would celebrate this as like a festival of freedom or something, and not draw any parallels at all to the way they described the Black Lives Matter protests from just a few months ago. And we will not have a common version of history of these events because we're already so fractured that there's going to be like an MSNBC version and a Fox News version and the Proud Boys version and the 4chan version, and they'll all be contending with each other for purchase in the minds of the people. So it's important for us to write our own history of this moment and keep updating it. And there's probably battle spaces where that happens in what still passes for mainstream media and semi-neutral, mass accessible sources, even like Wikipedia. But we know what's happened here. So thank you for that, Melanie. It's very interesting. Oh yeah, POTUS got his Twitter account shut down. That's great. Thanks from Canada. Listening to you is calming. Shadow Witchheart. And you win the username battle of this episode of Live on Lockdown. I usually do that way up front, and I haven't done these in so long, I forgot some of my routines. Also, coup d'etat. So everybody's rhythm's a little bit off today. Forgive me if I don't, cross all the T's, dot the I's. At least I've remembered to turn the mic on. I'm giving myself credit. Like I turned the mic on. I took a shower before I came online. I put on a clean shirt and real pants. Real pants, not sweats, denim. Because 2021 will be better. Even if it starts worse. And this is a worse start. All right. Let's see where else you're at. Kelly Yeats, I'm from Portland and I'm waiting for the Department of Homeland Security to use DC as their training ground. Yeah. I think the frightening thing, there are many frightening things, but the infiltration of law enforcement by right-wing extremism is a real problem. It's not limited to the US. If there's any Germans watching, you know what I'm talking about because you got them in your elite squad, in your federal security forces over there. It's not pretty. And we have them too in our police forces and various law enforcement forces. There's a a lot of overlap. The Venn diagram of white supremacists and law enforcement, it exists. And the signals have been sent by those with legitimate forms of power, i.e. elected people. Like when an elected official co-signs on violent insurrection as a result of displeasure at election results, that's a disqualifying move, right? From a logic perspective, how do I put this? You can't fucking do that, right? Like you believe in elections or you don't believe in elections. That's a binary. There's a lot of things on a spectrum. Gender, racial identity, even truth, on a spectrum. But if you're an elected official, you choose 0 versus 1, true versus false, yay or nay on believing in elections. So an elected official who co-signs on a violent response to election results is illegitimate. They no longer exist within the confines, within the logical, internally coherent confines of electoral democracy. They've opted out of our system and into something else, something more authoritarian. That's also a system, but it's not one that has free and fair elections. And it's one that is absolutely fine with suppression and dismissal and disregard of the people's will. Like that is a form of government. It's still government. It's just not democracy. It's not by, of, and for the people government. That's a different flavor. That's some old Belarusian. That's that old Russian. That's got flavors of that Idi Amin-ish. You know what I mean? Like, it's government and people's needs can get met under that system, but that's not our system, allegedly. So, elected officials who've gone along with this and encouraged this have a special level of accountability coming for them. And the amount of collusion with armed insurrectionists, like, let's use the right words. Rioters, criminals, seditionists, insurrectionists, thugs, vandals, revolutionaries, rebels, extremist right-wing rebels stormed the U.S. Capitol today. That's one of those headlines that was supposed to be limited to the so-called shithole country. I mean, has the shine worn off yet for some of us? Many of us have been telling you for a very, very long time, but I mean, this is the moment, right? Because for some people, it was like, oh man, I can't believe he lied about the size of his inauguration crowd and talked about alternative facts. That was their line, right? And they got off the bus. They're like, I'm off the bus. Other people stayed on the bus. They waited. They're like, I need something more. Well, what if we kidnapped babies at the southern border and separated them from their mothers in the name of the law? What if we did that like 1,000 or 5,000 or, we don't even know how many times because we destroyed the records. What if we did that? And some people got off the bus. They're like, I draw the line at child kidnapping. And it's a little late for me. Like I never really got on the bus, but like I can understand some people who they were born on the bus. You wake up, you're like, this is the bus. This bus is going to child kidnapville? Nah, this is my stop. I'm gonna get off here. But others stayed on that damn bus. They kept riding the bus because the bus served them. It gave them something of value. So they stayed on the bus. They liked where the bus was going. Some people stayed on the Muslim ban. I like this bus. I don't want Muslims on my bus. Fuck them. So they stayed on the bus. Okay. The whole Ukraine phone call thing, when the US president used his position to try to pressure a foreign government to undermine his domestic political rival. Some people got off the bus then. They're like, I can't. Or Helsinki. Remember Helsinki? This is like a greatest hits replay. Just off the top of the dome. Because I've been forced to consume foulness for the past 4 years. And some people like, you know what? When the US president openly undermines the US Intelligence Committee in a meeting with a foreign adversarial head of state in front of the public, I get off the bus. And that was those people's getting off the bus. And then there was a big, it was like a bus, but the bus driver was like, yo, okay, here's, some of y'all still on this bus and it's your right to be on the bus, right? But this next stop, like, I'm going to give you all a chance to get off the bus right now. Because, how do I put this, says the driver? We're about to go to a place I'm pretty sure you don't want to go, wherein the U.S. president single-handedly, through his control of the federal government apparatus, limits the ability of the nation to respond to a global pandemic, thereby leading to the death of hundreds of thousands of people. Anybody want to get off before we slaughter hundreds of thousands of people? Now's your chance. You could get off the bus right now. And look, I'm not even going to tell anybody who was on the bus. You could just be one of those people not on the bus. Be like, look at those crazies on the bus. We gave them a chance to get off the bus. At Helsinki, at child kidnapping, at deployment of federal forces in Portland, at the slaughter of hundreds of thousands of Americans due to a pandemic, which didn't have to happen. And we know because there's a parallel universe called other motherfucking countries where this shit didn't happen. Countries as large and wealthy and white and great as Germany with effective leadership. Countries as white and wealthy and great and ineffectively led as the United Kingdom. Countries as dismissible as Mauritius. Countries like South Korea or Taiwan or New Zealand or Costa fucking Rica. And the bus driver said, are you sure you want to stay on this bus? I'm only here because I have to be here. I'm the driver. You have choice. And these motherfuckers stayed on the goddamn bus. So you can't be acting surprised when a bus that has made stops at child kidnapping and undermining national security and impeachment, when a bus that blew through reasonable pandemic response and careened toward mass murder on the order of numbers not seen since World War II. Right there on the bus. Like, you look up and you, where's this bus going? World War II level casualties, sir, ma'am, but in 1/10 the amount of time. You stay on the bus. Okay. So the bus driver says to the remaining passengers, members of the Republican Party, corporate leaders, Wall Street motherfuckers who donated to this bitch, we see you. Everybody who funded Loeffler and Perdue in this Senate runoff because we believe in divided government. You lie to yourself. You don't believe in people's government if you're funding this shit. You're on crazy bus and we know where it's going. So you writing checks now. We could trace it. Your name's on it. If you wrote a check to the Republican Party after Helsinki, after Portland, after child kidnapping, after COVID, then this is on you. And you are co-producer of the coup. You funded this shit. You're the money behind it. So the bus driver says unto the remaining passengers, okay, so y'all some crazy ride or die motherfuckers back here. I really thought, here's the bus driver. I really thought y'all would just like bounce with the whole injecting bleach thing. Like, we literally stopped at injecting bleach to kill COVID, and you crazy motherfucker stayed on the bus. So, buckle your seatbelts, bitches. Because we about to go to a place. I mean, I know we've been heading there, but I never thought I'd actually see it. We're about to, it's like a remix stop on this bus. We're going to take a Trump rally, right? And then we're going to mix it. It's like a remix stop. We're going to take a Trump rally and we're going to mix it with some Civil War reenactment bullshit. We're going to throw in some Confederate flags just to confuse people. And we're going to have fools climbing the walls of the U.S. Capitol, overrunning the Capitol Police, forcing members of Congress to shelter in place while they're supposed to certify the duly already motherfucking certified election results. And they're going to take down the U.S. flag at the U.S. Capitol and tread on it while wearing "Don't Tread on Me" t-shirts. They are going to destroy property. They are going to wave MAGA flags. And one bolo motherfucker is going to run around the U.S. Capitol with a big-ass Confederate flag. So, listen. We know this is going to happen. This is where the bus is going. And we know this because the president tweeted it. He literally said it. So, last chance. You want to get off this bus? Because if you're on this bus after January 6, 2021, it's too late for you. You've chosen your side, and it ain't with us. I pity the fool that's still on this fucking bus. I'm still processing what happened today. Thousands of creepy, crawly motherfuckers who listen to Newsmax and One America and Fox News and the president's Twitter account. Thousands of creepy, crawly motherfuckers rolled up in the U.S. Capitol. For what? Because they only like election results when they win. I want to give special thanks and credit to everybody who's never done this. I want to start with women. To all women who have been born into a world not designed to accept you or see you with equal worth, measure, and value, who have been forced to walk to your car with keys in your hand, who have been shamed by law enforcement into reliving your own trauma when merely trying to report a crime, who have had to shrink yourselves to make a man happy because if he's unhappy, even though that's right for you, that's wrong for you because his wrath is more dangerous to you, who weren't allowed to vote or earn money or open checking accounts or have property in your name for the majority of this nation's history, thus making this not a democracy until quite recently. To all women who never stormed the fucking gates of the U.S. Capitol, I applaud you. Your discipline, your patience, your perseverance, your belief in a better tomorrow is worthy of praise. Thank you, half of everybody. I want to thank the immigrants, the recent immigrants who have fled countries where this sort of things happen day in and day out, thinking they were coming to a place where this could never happen. Because in America, even with a crazy president, they got their shit together. You trekked, you rode, you swam, you crawled, you left your language and your God and your community and your food and your family to get here. And when you got here, you were reminded that you start at the bottom every time. It's the hazing ritual of the nation. So, well, we got to dehumanize you. It's just what we do in America. And you took your licks and you kept on ticking. And you gave us the iPhone and the COVID vaccine and wonderful falafel carts and great music and art and good food and quality leadership and solid education and amazing healthcare improvements. And the thing you didn't do during all of this continued debasement through laws, through internment camps, through so much abuse, you know what you never did? You never stormed the motherfucking U.S. Capitol. Thank you, immigrants. You're a good citizen, even if you're not a citizen yet. I want to offer special thanks to the indigenous members of our society who, as far as I can tell, were just like living their lives. Just living their human lives in general respect and balance with nature, with the occasional intergroup warfare and all the stuff that people tend to do. And some visitors showed up someday, right? You had never seen them before. They looked kind of pasty, like literally pasty. And they came bearing gifts. And those gifts involved near genocide and forced removal and child kidnapping and re-education camps and total dismissal of your right to exist. And then a bunch of deals were made. I think they're called treaties. Legal documents were entered into with what remained of your nations, with the nation that became of what used to be the lands you inhabited. And summarily, pretty much each and every one of those treaties was violated. And then you were mocked, made to feel like you did something wrong. Your whole view on life, your essence, your inner being, your spiritual grounding was mocked for the entertainment of others through sports teams' mascots. And the few grounds that remain sacred to you, that you were still allowed to visit, were grossly disrespected and contorted for the continual abuse of the land through the extraction of resources like oil and coal, pipelines. And through all this near genocide, this repeated violation of the laws established by the very people breaking the laws, takes two to enter into a treaty, last I checked, through the mockery and the tomahawk chops and all the bullshit, I do not recall a time when the various nations that preceded this nation rose up and stormed the motherfucking U.S. Capitol. I applaud the indigenous people of the land. So many people to give thanks to. So many deserving of appreciation and at least acknowledgement for not doing what happened today. So many people with a documented, certifiable list of grievances to be submitted into the record to justify the use of violence. Which brings me to this group. It is a special group of people, near and dear to my heart. Black people. Yo, you, me, we, living our lives like it was golden, which it pretty much was, minus again the standard intergroup warfare and occasional abuse and things that happen with all groups of human beings. But then, as you're doing your thing in the land that gave birth to all of us, some visitors show up and they make some deals for your bodies to be dragged across the great sea, taken away from everything you know, beat, raped, broken down, enlisted in your own exploitation. And here's the rub. In your captive state to build a land of the free. That is sea salt in the wounds of the whip levied against your back across the Middle Passage. $16.19. We showed up here against our will. Learned the language. Learned the customs. Patiently waited, impatiently fought. Reminded this place of what it's supposed to be. Did some rebellions back in the day. I see you, Denmark VC, Nat Turner. Crushed near instantly, and examples made of all the rebels. Stayed, worked, loved, lived, believed, fought, contributed, added, improved, amended the foul foundations of this nation. Stuck with this fucked up place through civil war, world wars, Jim Crow, Jane Crow, the whole Crow family all up in our shit. Went and fought actual Nazis. Came back, still got lynched. Wanted to vote. Decided we should participate in this thing. It's not really a democracy. We don't vote. Got killed for it. Got killed for doing the essential thing that is supposed to be the thing that defines the democracy thing. Stuck with this place. You hear what I'm saying? We've been in this the whole time. The whole time. We've stood up and been shot down for wanting revolutionary things like food, like payment for labor, like the right to vote. Like the basic human need to be treated as a human being. We've stood up to just exist. And at every turn, this nation, at every fucking turn, has tried to crush us. Has made it very clear. You can stand, but we will knock you the fuck down and make sure you really want to stand. And we're here. When this nation started its open flirtation with authoritarianism, it was fucking black people that pulled you back from the brink you ran yourself to. Oh, we love you, Stacey Abrams. We love John Lewis so much. We love the Obamas and Beyonce and Jay-Z and LeBron and Insay Ufot. Oh, we love Patrice Cullors and Alicia Garza. We love you. Do you? You love Jacob Blake? You love Breonna Taylor? You love Tamir? black people still here, dragging this fucking country, kicking and screaming toward its own constitution. There's another bus headed toward that place you say you are, that good place you want to be. Doors been open from the start. Fucking America out here slashing the tires on the good bus, jumping on the bus to Crazy Town. So I offer my sincere gratitude, thanks, appreciation, acknowledgement, and robust endorsement to fucking black people in America. Because with all the shit we've been through, with all the people they've taken from us, with the amount of spirit that they tried to break in us, even with all the fomenting we did, not once did we storm the motherfucking U.S. Capitol. And we had fucking reason to. So many reasons to. So when you write the history of this, you write the history of that too. I want the story of this thuggish, criminal, insurrectionist, seditionist, treasonous activity noted. I want the people involved named, and the people who wrote checks to those people named, and the people who co-signed for those people named. And I also wanted noted everybody who had reason to do this and didn't. From 1619 to the day. You put that in that fucking history book. Both stories. And then we'll approach some truth and eventual reconciliation. But it's got to be known that these freaking DoorDash despots, fucking on-demand, lazy, swipe right ass revolutionaries, they don't, if you're gonna do this, you best to have a list of reasons so long as to allow some historian to justify your shit. As it stands, you lost an election. Shit happens every fucking election. You turn the dial up to 11 over everyday shit. You make the boy who cried wolf look like a responsible, if you see something, say something type citizen. Why would anyone ever listen to anything you ever said again? How do we trust you after this? You skipped a lot of steps. Step one, find better candidates and run them in the next election. That's just like democracy blocking and tackling, you bitch. You little snowflake ass motherfuckers. It's so weak. Underneath of all this huffing and puffing and liberty is just a bunch of whiny bitches who lost an election that we all could have told you was possible, if not probable, based on fucking data, you bitches. Okay, it's possible that the whole U.S. government and every Republican election official across the land entered into the largest conspiracy ever known and kept secret in the history of human beings, or you just lost. I'm gonna go with you lost. You lose an election and this is how you respond? I remember back in the violently bringing democracy to brown people days, Iraq War 2.0. I remember there was these frenzied debates. Can the Iraqi people handle democracy? Do they want it? Would they recognize it? Are they built for it? Maybe they've been entrenched in their ancient desert Bedouin ways for so long. They couldn't really handle, they couldn't operate the complex machinery of government by, of, and for the people. Serious motherfuckers in the United States wrote papers on this shit. Put their names on it. We should find those people. We should find those idiots and rub their noses in today's headlines in America. You are asking the wrong people that question. I don't know. Can white America handle democracy? I don't know. Are they equipped? Maybe there's just something in their history that makes it impossible for them to operate the complex machinery of a divided government, a system of checks and balances. You know, they've been marauding and raping and pillaging for such a long time. I'm just not sure if they're genetically predisposed to accept something as egalitarian, as equity stoking, as fair and balanced as democracy. Well, I had some things to say. And I said them. Thank you for joining. I'm going to start winding this down. I'm jumping on Clubhouse in about 5 minutes. I tweeted the link out. I honestly don't know how, if you're not already in Clubhouse, if you can join the thing I'm about to do there. So apologies if I'm like advertising like a club you can't get into. But we're working on that. By we, I mean somebody. I don't know, somebody. Like the same people who are running the U.S. government right now. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? Who's in charge? Is Nancy Pelosi president? Like literally, we need a website. Who's in charge of America.com? Can somebody spin that shit up? Because I don't know. Is it Mike Pence? Is it Bill Barr, even though he resigned? Is Mike Flynn running? Maybe it's Lynn Wood. It's literally possible that it could be any of these motherfuckers running the U.S. right now. Oh, to be an enemy of America right now, it'd be prime time to fuck with us. I gotta laugh because if I don't, I'm gonna rip all this hair out. All right, I need to take some breaths. Let me take a look at you. Vicky Velcro is here. That's the name I needed to see. Thank you for joining. For those whose questions and comments I didn't get to, you know, I'm responding to larger questions and comments like, are we a nation? And, you know, whatever you're feeling right now, it's acceptable. It's acceptable. This is hard. Here's what I'll leave you with. Where do I think we're going? What's going to happen? What's next? Blah, blah, blah. I don't fucking know. Nah, here's it for real. I think a couple things are likely or certain even. This current president's not going to be the president. Joe Biden's going to be president. Kamala Harris is going to be vice president. We're going to have Chuck Schumer as Senate Majority Leader. Thank the Lord and all of science. And we're going to maintain Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. So from that sort of government perspective, we're going to move forward. We are going to have probably more chaos, violence, and nonsense. What happened today has emboldened a lot of people across the country. And they're going to get inspired. You know, it's just copycats. It happens in every crime. So a massive crime just happened and motherfuckers got away with it. So now other criminals will be like, I like that crime. Yo, let's crime like them. You want to crime like them? Yo, let's crime like the criminals who crimed in the Capitol. Let's do that capital crime. Capital crimes. Yes. So it's probably going to be a little crazy. I would not be shocked if it continues to be crazy. So I am just hopeful that we keep breathing, that we keep believing, and that we remember that COVID doesn't give a shit about any of this. There's still the COVID. Underneath of and on top of the coup is the COVID. It's a COVID coup sandwich. That's the laugh of a man who, a little tired. I actually got some rest over the break and it all just gone. So I'll see you, for those who can make the transition, in Clubhouse, and then I'll see the rest of you at the tribunals. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Stay safe. Stay the fuck home. Don't waste energy you don't need to. This is not a time to get into online arguments with anybody. Just let that shit go. Hold on to what we know is true. And if you believe in prayer, do that. If you believe in intentional meditation, do that. And just keep showing up for each other. Ultimately, that's what this all comes down to. All right. Your boy's got to bounce. Let me start ending things. How do I do that? 66 minutes I've been going. Do I just hit? It's been so long. I literally forgot how to do live on lockdown. I'm like, what do I push? Where's the producers? Oh, I'm the producer. Okay. Are you sure you want to end? Yeah, I'm going to end it. All right. So that's you. Oh, a lot of people watch that. Oh boy. I hope I didn't say anything too crazy. They'll freaking come after me before they come after the MAGA maniacs. Meanwhile, while the IG shuts down, it's just me and all the rest of y'all. Thank you for showing up. Joshua Clark. So here's what's up, Josh. I just wrapped it, but you know, this will be archived everywhere. And I'm Locked On Coup Edition. Share their Instagram at the series at the Live on Lockdown. So yeah, I'm simulcasting, multitasking. Put it in the Live on Lockdown show. Done. Post. All right. So I just put this on my IG, but the better version, wide aspect ratio. I'm kind of talking to this camera versus this other one. You can replay it. It might be instant on Facebook. And no Sin R8 on Twitch. I am not going to leave it running overnight again. Thank you, everybody. There's so much more that I am feeling and want to share. So much more I want to hear from many of you. Hop on over on Clubhouse if you have an account there. If not, sign up for the thing. I'm going to be doing some cool stuff over there. And in the meantime, let me find the end button